Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of MUKBANG Meetings! Okay, anyway, we have all this food in front of us. It's from this shop called Roly Oli. So what we have on the menu today is we have a kimchi beef rice. We also have this avocado sushi roll, as well as this salmon sun-kissed sushi roll and the California sushi roll. But yeah, we bought it as like a set. So we have a soup as well as the option of a side dish. So we got gyoza, and we also have this steamed egg that looks really unappetizing, but it's truffle, and I've tried this before and it tastes good, so that's why I bought it again today. I ordered this right because it sounded very interesting, like kimchi beef.
No, egg.
Yeah, it has the runny egg. I thought it was gonna be like a stir fry.
Oh,
like everything stir fried together,
yeah,
like the kimchi. But I realized the kimchi is like just pot on top, like yeah.
Right.
Okay. I like how the beef is sweet.
Yeah.
So like with the kimchi,
Blends very well.
yeah, I thought it would taste quite weird, to be honest.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking like, oh, surely they'll stir fry the whole thing together.
Yeah, right. Because I was thinking like if you just put the like,
It's gonna be so weird.
okay, not raw kimchi, but like yeah, as a whole, I thought it might be a bit overwhelming. But now that I have actually tried it,
It's not bad.
yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, I'm gonna try the salmon. It's called sun-kissed salmon. It has cucumber, salmon, and 2 eggs,
And yeah, I'm gonna try this, which has spicy crab meat mayo, kimchi, avocado, and a slice of cucumber with rice, of course. How's yours?
I was gonna say it's very big. I haven't tried the salmon yet. But I like the crab meat. I'm enjoying it.
But this is a bit spicy, I think because of the kimchi. So that's one. I think I'm gonna go for the truffle steamed egg. I like this. I don't know whether you like it. Okay, but it's a very strong mushroom taste.
Is the truffle like strong?
It's so only. It's not the like wow, but you can totally taste it. It's like the salty kind. Not bad, right?
It's not bad.
Yeah, I love it. The first time I tried, I was a bit like worried how it would be like, but
It looks so bad, but like no, really.
I don't
like
know.
when you
It looks like it's like a tadpole egg. Like
yeah, you showed me that time. I was like, this is.
it just looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It just looks like it's a pond full of tadpole eggs.
That's nice.
But it's actually quite nice. So since we've tried almost most of the things on the table, we shall begin our questions.
My brother was the one who brought me to church, and I would say I didn't accept God in a sense back then, like primary 4. Like I probably like came to church for
fun.
and I think like for bigger network, like social network, because I think at the point of time, like primary school, like I didn't have like a lot of primary school friends also. So basically he just told me that we were going home, and then we went down the stage, because not altar call, then they're like, oh, if you want to accept Jesus. I didn't even know that.
As in, when you respond to say yes, you're going home. What was
No,
it?
as in I didn't even respond to say yes, I was going home. Because the thing is, okay, so basically, like they're like, oh, if you want to accept Jesus into your life, like you know, you come down and stuff like that, right? So, my brother was like at the end of the
The
row.
seats.
Yeah, and then he was like, hey, Mimi, come out. Then I thought we were just going home already. Like maybe because like the service ending and maybe this portion of the service is not for us. Then after that, like we went down, right? And then I was like,
Turns out,
right? Then suddenly like he and this other like girl, like leader, came down with me. So I thought like maybe she's sending us off or something. So like they started. So my brother was like, oh, just close your eyes and bow your head, and then like we just pray first. So I thought this was just a ritual. Like before you leave,
Wow,
you need to
ritual,
like pray or something. Like Quick before you leave the service. No, I honestly don't recall whatever they said.
Oh,
Like the
Sinner's
sinner's prayer.
prayer.
Yeah. The next thing I know, I opened my eyes and then like people like around me started doing this. Like, oh my god, congratulations! So happy for you! So happy for you! And I'm like,
best decision of your life.
yeah, I was so confused. And imagine being 10 and like being
Oh my God,
surrounded
yeah,
by
just 10,
like
yeah.
by like secondary school kids telling you that you beat the best decision in your life, and you're thinking like, I just want to go home. I thought we were going home. So after that, yeah, fast forward, yeah, that's how I came to know God.
Okay, so I guess that would be actually the story of how you actually came to join. So like, well, where was the point that you started to take like God seriously, or like told yourself that, hey, like this is a faith that I really want to commit myself to, like beyond all the like attention that people are giving you and all. Like, when was the time you started to take God like seriously?
Okay, to be honest, right, I think even like when I entered secondary school, so like I'm properly in youth service. I don't think I really took God that seriously. It was more of like a external community that I could rely on, if anything. I think in my life there are two periods that I was awakening lah. So the first one was definitely when I was in Sec 2 or 3, I forgot. So my leader back then, I think she told me something along the lines of like a story of like the bamboo tree. So apparently like bamboo trees are like quite sturdy and like they don't like break that easily, and they're good supporters lah. So I think it was a very moment because like she one night just suddenly texted me. She said, I really felt like God telling me that you are a bamboo lah and stuff like that.
Bamboo tree, Regina.
Yeah, something like that lah. And then after that, I don't know why. Like I think it was a very simple thing that she said, something about bamboos and stuff like that. And then like, as weird as it may sound lah, like it's just on bamboos, right? Like I actually like cried after that because I think at that point of time I was going through like some stuff and I felt like I didn't want to, not okay, to put it in a crude way, I didn't like feel like I can, and I didn't even feel like I want to support my leader or like the life group itself. So that was one. Like, and the second time that this awakening happened was after I left church, which was quite a shocker for me because I think like for myself, I told myself that I would never leave church based on like what God has done in my life. And I think honestly, if you ask me now, right, why I even left church back then, right? I can't really remember like the sole reason why.
Just various factors
that
led up to that.
Yeah, I think it was just accumulative.
Yeah.
It was a process more than a bang thing. So like obviously like it started when so I left church, and I think I left church after my birthday, right? Feels like it, like a few months after my birthday.
Which one? Which birthday?
The one that you cried.
Oh, the one that I didn't even go.
You did. You were there. We were at the Ponsak, the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
I said like the live group. I said something about.
Okay, yeah, then I remember I was like sharing and then I was crying because I know like back then she was like experiencing something in her life, but I just felt like as a group we didn't really like encourage her or show her like support in that sense. So I also felt quite apologetic towards her because I was an LGL, right, at that point of time. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. So I was an LGL at that point of time. Yeah, and I felt like we didn't do enough for her as a life group to support her. So
okay, like in her perspective, right, like the life group wasn't like supporting me, but I think like really like supporting doesn't necessarily have to mean like meeting your needs. But what my life group did for me back then was like to check out on me. I think checking out on me was something that was one of the few reasons why I was still like staying in church, because I'm like, to be honest, back then I think I might even have to say that I was staying in church called the life group, because I think they're like just like bunch of girls who I felt like I was very safe and secure lah. Yeah, so I didn't want to lose that in a sense, but I think like eventually whatever that was happening back then caught up lah, and I think there wasn't enough reason for me to stay in church. Yeah, so I left for a good few months. It felt like a break, But then at the same time, it felt like I was going to do it for real. Because like, I didn't even like see myself coming back. It wasn't just about like, whether I wanted to like, give Christianity a shot again. But I guess like, the bigger reason here is also like, it was kind of embarrassing for me. I felt embarrassed like, I think I got tell you right, like I feel like if I go into church, people will look at me like, eh.
I thought she left.
Yeah, when she haven't come back. I actually got a few people that wanted to meet me when I left church.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I remember right, my response, I think there were some people that even like said, if this is your intention of getting me back to church, like don't even try lah. Like I would go out for a meal, but don't like have the intention. So I think that's what Michelle did. She was like, oh, don't worry lah, I'm not going to like tell you like, oh, come back to church or anything. I just want to like meet up and catch up. And I think as I was sharing my life, right, oh, I just cried to her, and I was like, wow, like it was very tough, and like the reasons why I left church. And then I told her, I said like, even if I want to come back to church, I'll be too embarrassed too. And I think she said this, like, imagine like someone like you know left church and she or he were to come back. Will you feel that way, like judgment, or will you feel like, why she come back to church? Like didn't she leave? Or will you be supportive? I'm like, obviously I'll be supportive lah. So she was like, then in the same way, that's how people would feel lah. Like if I came back to church, and they'll be happy for me and stuff. So I think that was one of the things that like shook me a bit. I was like, obviously it's not like a overnight thing, right? So like it took me a while. So I would say like, and that 1 year, it really pushed me for a bit lah. And then that's when I'm like, wow, God is so real. It was like a knock, you know. God,
what's up?
It's real, you know? Yeah, like true people, surely, like I can tell, like, I mean, only God can do this lah, to me.
Yeah, to bring you to a place where you can encounter Him, and to like lead people into your life who are just there to, you know, that it's like God placed them in your life. Like there are just people in your life like that, and whenever you see them, you will just like feel at a place where you can really just share very vulnerably with them, and through that actually you also receive your own like healing, your own pieces of revelation, I feel. And that's when like your faith is also like solidified, like bit by bit. Yeah. So you were saying you studied overseas before also. So how was the overseas experience for you? Like how long were you there for?
Okay, so I was there for like a year and a half, and I came back like last December. Like first semester, honestly my first semester, I don't remember like thinking anything about like Singapore. Like I didn't even miss Singapore.
Yeah, true man, true.
Yeah, like I literally like cut contact with everyone, even my closest friends like Michelle, you know. Like I really never talked to anyone. I didn't want to bring my Singapore, how I lived in Singapore, bring it to Australia. And then yeah, so it defeats the purpose, right? If I did that, that's what I felt lah. So I think after the first semester, then that's when it became a bit more traumatic, because like relationship and stuff, right? Initially, like they supported me, so you know, after one whole semester, I'm like, nah, I cannot do this like whole like focus on myself anymore. I have to like I had to reach out to my Singapore friends for support lah. I think it's also because how traumatic the relationship was. Yeah, I remember we had like a lot of like Skype calls and stuff like that. Obviously, like this couldn't keep up for long, right? So I started to, you know, kind of like isolate myself a lot in Australia. I started to like think to myself like, wow, I want to kill myself, because it was so tiring. Imagine you wake up to cry, you go to sleep crying, and then, you know, it's like a cycle. And I remember like losing like 5 kg, so it was like very bad, and I had 1 meal a day to sustain me, because I was just like, the rest of the day is just crying what. And then at one point I couldn't like keep calling like my Singapore friends at 5 AM what. So it was a lot of me and God moment, and like just reaching out to God and knowing that, wow, finding comfort lah, like finding comfort in God. I would say being overseas was traumatic lah, for most parts. Yeah, it was very traumatic, but thankfully, I guess like being like, I mean, I met new people, like my uni friends, who helped me to, in a sense, because I wouldn't say they knew what was going on, and I think that was why like I'm back in Singapore also, because like I'm forcing myself to be in a place where I know I can find support, people who know like what I've gone through and what I'm going through. Because I think it was very hard for me to just be like to my fresh uni friends like, hey, like I have mental health issues and like I really need support. I mean, I feel like some of them know, but like how serious it was, like no one really knew lah. So I mean for most parts they helped me because they keep me distracted and they added like a bit more life lah into my life. Even after the whole like COVID thing happened, cause like usually like cause of COVID we were mostly alone. So so they really ended. I wouldn't even say like ended my uni life lah. They added lah. They added and ended it well because I came into Singapore lah. So the last semester was just with like spending my uni friends and it was good lah. It was good. So it's like an emotional roller coaster.
Actually, like from what Reg shared, I don't know what you guys took away, but personally for me, I think since I've heard what it was like for her during that period of time, and also whatever that she's sharing here as like a recap of what happened in the past, right? I think something that really like stood out, like what she said, is her relationship with God during that period of time that also guided her through the whole season. And I think like it's also important to note that like as we are talking about this, it's not that we're like making small of the whole idea of like, oh, like, you know, I have nobody already, so that's why I go running to God. And it's not wrong, but I'm also not saying that for like us it's like, oh, it's a very sad thing and we are just here because we got no choice and we got to settle with just God. But actually I think we have to come and realize that actually that's the most important part of it, that we are at a place, right? I mean, through the whole like struggling and all that like that happened to her, I think one thing that I realized is that Reg actually came to realize how secure God is for her, and like just assured that God is there for her at every step of the way, even if she felt like she was lonely, and how like he would just give her like signs at very timely points. And it may seem like it's not a big thing and it's just small and all, but actually for us, and I think like for many believers, actually all these small things goes a very long way in our walk with him, that it reminds us that like truly, right, at the end of the day, like if all things fade away, right, and God is all that we have, then that is actually enough and God is our portion. And I think that's what I felt like Reg was sharing, that I think it's important to also say. How has your understanding of God actually changed over time?
I think that what changed definitely was my understanding of God when he's silent. Because I think in a Blaze or even in poly, right, when one of the big factors to why I left church or didn't really take God seriously was because I think it's very hard to find his voice. Because I think my reasoning was always been like, has always been me going, oh, God never say anything, God didn't speak to me, so he's very silent, so maybe he's not that real after all. But I think being in Australia and being in the situation that I was with, you know, with everything that's going on around me, I think I managed to find peace and comfort in the silence. In that period of my life, right, I think I started to reach out to God more than I used to, in a sense where I observe like my surroundings. You know, the people around me were mediums or tools that God used to reach out to me. First of all, friends who I've never talked for a while also reached out to me, which was something I felt like was very God sent. Prayer, I started to pray a lot more. I started to engage in online services a lot more. I think surprisingly enough, like I started to read the Bible more also, because I think, you know, when you think like God is silent and you reach out to, you know, the things around you like that, you know, God has given you, right, like the Bible, right, actually, you know, the answers are there. And I think it wasn't so much about God being silent, but it was more like finding God's voice in these places. And even though it was a very traumatic event of my life, right, but I think it was the peak of my relationship with God, because it was so like intimate and it was just like, it was very genuine. So I think it was a blessing in disguise lah.
Okay, so maybe before we end, are there any last words that you want to share?
You live and you learn is something that I always refer to also lah. So without, you know, I always tell myself, without all these experiences, right, where would I have been? You know, would I be this close to God? You know, would I be this grounded in God? So these are questions that like gets me going, like, oh yeah, if this didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So like obviously, like to those who are struggling now lah, you I wouldn't say I feel you, I wouldn't say I've been there, because you know, people differ. But if you ever feel like God is not doing anything, or like God is like absent in your life, like trust me, you give it time. Like you really need to give it time, really be patient, and really look around you. Like there's so much of God around you that you sometimes don't even know, or like don't even notice. So I would say like, yeah, just just remember that at the end of the tunnel there's always light. Yeah, like God will somehow bring you out of it. Yeah. And so another thing is also like my friends who managed to watch through this whole mukbang, like you might be a little shocked, because I think I don't really like share about my mental health, like yeah, in general. Like I always joke about it, like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, oh, I got depression. But okay, like truth be told, I actually do struggle with my mental health lah. And I think as compared to comparing where I was to where I am now, I'm doing a lot better. And I do struggle sometimes, and I still cry, but I think I have gotten a lot better. I'm okay, I'm good, and I think I appreciate everyone's concern and support. So yes, please don't overreact when y'all watch this mukbang. Don't overreact. Yeah, that's all.
That's a keyword. Don't overreact. Yeah,
Yes.
I think believe that everything happens for a reason, and that like whatever that occurred in her life, whether it be like through her own decision or decisions that other people make that impacted her, like these are things that God ordained and God allowed for it to happen in her life. So we also trust that, you know, everything is in God's plan, that nothing is ever out of it. So he sees and he knows, and it is in accordance with his plan, so that as a believer and as a disciple herself, she is also being refined to grow towards Christ-likeness and to grow closer to God as well through this whole process. So I think we are not sharing from a point of self-pity, like, oh my God, like this happened to me, or like what, but it's really more of sharing it from a place where, you know, how we have struggled through it, and how we have chosen to choose God in the midst of like all that trials that we're going through. So as you are hearing this, I hope like, you know, that you are also encouraged that whatever struggles that you have, there is a God out there who sincerely cares for you, and is hoping to reach out to you as well lah. So if you ever feel alone in your struggles, know that you are not, and I also pray that, you know, there will be people out there who will be able to approach you, or that you can also approach to also share your struggles too. Yeah, and in any way, if there's anything that you want us to like talk about in future episodes of Mukbang Meetings, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to visit them together with my new friend in the next episode of Mukbang Meetings. So with that, we have actually come to the end of the first episode. We hope you enjoyed the content so far and found it interesting, and if it encouraged you, then that's even better. So yeah, on the next episode of Mukbang Meetings, I'll have a new friend and new food on the table. So I am quite excited for that. Yeah, so with that, we will see you in the next one. But before that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, we out.